Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk Time today. I'm Meredith McCarthy. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist based here in Wellington, New Zealand, and I like to create these talk times to reach out to people who perhaps are looking for a new career path, maybe to become a clinical hypnotherapist, or those that are just curious about the topic in general and just want to add to their knowledge bank. This May is World Smoke Free Day on the 31st of May, and I thought I'd talk about smoking cessation and a little bit about what I do as a clinical hypnotherapist, a bit about my background in this topic in general. So I'd like to just start with I used to be a smoker. Okay, I used to smoke 40 cigarettes a day. That's a lot of cigarettes. And I got to that point where my health was shouting at me. I had to warm up my voice to say hi to someone over the phone before I would be able to use my voice. I would have coughing fits all the time. So I was pretty bad back then. Now, this was when I was in my 20s, and I've been smoke free for all of that time. I've not relapsed at all. And once I made that decision, which was a biggie, I really needed to make peace with my decision and put it behind me. So, one of the things that I do with hypnotherapy clients is I look at the belief that they have around what do they think the cigarette's doing for them. Now, I remember vividly a moment where I went to light another cigarette and I still had one lit. So I thought, well, I'm not really getting this relaxation that I'm after. I seem to be chain smoking and going around in circles, but the very thing that I think is going to relax me is probably the very thing that's actually causing me anxiety and stress. So when you're catering to addiction that is that strong, I would get up in the middle of the night, go out and have a cigarette and come back to bed. It was pretty bad. I justified that situation for a very long time. Now, I remember very clearly a conversation I was having with my husband about quitting smoking. I thought, oh, once I get pregnant, I know I'll quit then. And he said, wouldn't it make more sense if you were smoke free completely? And then you have an opportunity to really have a wonderful, positive, healthy pregnancy. And I thought, you're right. And that was something that changed then my to-do list and the order in which I was going to do things. So I started to set up a quit date in my mind. Now, my husband, he hadn't married me yet. We decided to go on a holiday up to the top of the North Island and back again, like a hot pools tour. And I was on the back of the motorbike, and I remember my first smoke-free day. We head out to Levin from Wellington, and his parents at that time had a caravan parked in this place in Levin, and it was getting dark. We opened it up, and it was parked very close to a water space, and there were mosquitoes everywhere. And I recall feeling so proud of myself that I had actually managed a full day without a cigarette, and going to bed, and I would put the covers around me, and my boyfriend, soon to be husband, he was sort of very irritated about all these mosquitoes everywhere, and I was just happy to have been smoke free and had done one day. And he decided he would take the money and be in charge of that, so I couldn't accidentally go and buy cigarettes. And so for 2 or so weeks that we were away, it really supported breaking that routine and that habit up. If you are a chronic smoker, think about who you have around you to support you through that. So you can set up your environment in the best possible way. If that means that you need to get away from your environment, like I did, maybe that's a start. But mindset matters. And I'd been reading a book, probably you've heard of it, Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. However, because I was such a slow reader, I actually hadn't finished it yet. Now, I went for the big, long, the big, thick book, not the thin one. And I thought, oh, well, coming ready or not, it's my time to stop smoking. And there were certain things in the book that really stuck in my mind. And there was a little wee scene that I would play in my mind, and that was that normalization of being a smoker. And Alan Carr likened it to getting comfortable under the manhole. So a manhole, if no one knows what I'm talking about, is that little wee area in the street where there's a cover, and you take off the cover and you go down into the pipes and underneath the ground, and it's nice and warm and dry and things like that. So he likened it to normalizing this uncomfortable situation you're in. And that when you quit smoking, it's like you get out of the manhole and realize the whole world is waiting for you. And it's a much nicer place. You've got freedom, proper freedom. You're not trapped anymore. And what a powerful metaphor that was. I think that metaphors matter. And as a hypnotherapist, I help my clients work with the metaphors around their addiction mindset, and to break free from that habit of smoking. So I remember also every time I'd normally have had that cigarette, I primed myself to have a breathing break. So I'd take a couple of deep therapeutic breaths, and I would say this little mantra, this repetitive lot of words in my mind often when I was doing this. So it sounded like this. Yes, I'm free. This is easy. I've got this. It feels better this way. And that was just something that I'd say as often and as frequently, so 40 odd times a day, that normally I would have had that cigarette, I'd have a breathing break. And what surprised me about that is that I felt this euphoria. I actually felt this happiness, this giddiness that I was finally free. And I promise you, it felt better than any cigarette I'd ever had in my life. So when we're kind of looking at breaking free from smoking forever, I also like to talk about relapse prevention and looking forward at situations that might trigger you to want one again. And one of the things that I promised myself when I had my last cigarette, I talked to it. I said, I promise that for the rest of my life, as long as I breathe, I will never put one of those to my lips again. And I've honored that promise, no matter what. It's just an issue, not a solution. And that was a speech that I remember saying to myself as I said goodbye to that final cigarette. World Smoke Free Day, 31st of May. Maybe it's a chance, if you're a smoker or know someone who is trapped in that cycle, a chance to break away, to start fresh, to think about what they want to do next. I thought in the next talk time next week, I'd talk a little bit more about strategies. So tune in, and I'd love to share a little bit more about mindset and how hypnotherapy works around addiction. So I hope that you enjoyed today's talk time. I know it's short and sweet. You might have noticed I've had a head cold, so I'm just on the other end of it, which is good. So I'm feeling better and better every day. But anyway, tuning in next week, I will talk to you a little bit more about how to break free from smoking forever. And that may be also including vaping as well. So I want to talk about that. So thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, if you like what we're doing here, please, comment. Send me a comment. Like and subscribe. It helps the algorithms and it helps it to go out into the world. If you're interested in training to become a clinical hypnotherapist, you could check out the school website, nzach.ac.nz. Anyway, see you all next week. Thank you. Bye.